When you go for a job interview, you may be asked, why do you want this job, or why do you want to work at this company, or why do you want to leave your current role or company? If you're not careful and purposeful with your answer to these questions, it could derail your interview no matter how talented or experienced you may be. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 topics you should steer clear of during a job interview. Topics that add little or no value to your interview chances and that are better suited for a heart-to-heart conversation with a close friend or maybe even your therapist. Hi there, I'm your best friend at work and I'm here to share my advice, tips and support to help you thrive in your career. Welcome to my channel and let's get going. Interviews are hard. No matter how many times you go for an interview, no matter how seasoned you are in this process, you will always feel a certain level of nervousness for your next interview. That never goes away. It might lessen, but it never goes away. And because you're already in a state of emotional stress before an interview, if you haven't prepared and practiced well beforehand, when you're asked about these questions, you could end up saying a lot of things you shouldn't say to a bunch of strangers who hold a lot of power over the trajectory of your career, or at the very least, your next paycheck. So among the many things you shouldn't bring up during an interview, here are 5 of them to avoid. One of my relatives who used to be the head of HR for a global MNC once told me a story about an interview she conducted many years ago. The candidate came to the interview and after the first couple of questions, started breaking down and sharing her family issues. My relative was of course at a loss as to what to do and deep down wanted to help the candidate, but at the same time, my relative had a job to do and obviously for my relative, it was going to be hard to assess the candidate's suitability for the role or with all the crying and emotional instability. If that sounds like I'm cold and uncaring, it's not my intention to come off that way. Mental health and mental well-being are incredibly important. But I'm sharing this story to let you know that for the best possible chance of a successful interview, you want to make sure you take care of your emotional needs in a more appropriate setting and with a more qualified person. A therapy session with an actual trained professional therapist, for example, only by taking care of your deep-seated emotional issues separately can you then make sure you don't inadvertently let them spill over to the corporate world where most people aren't as forgiving or as understanding even today. And I'm not just referring to emotional breakdowns either. This goes for anything else you share that isn't appropriate. For example, when encountering the typical interview question, why do you want this job, or why do you want to work at this company? Responding with things like, oh, my family owns money to loan sharks, that's why I'm applying for this job. Or even something seemingly innocuous like, my wife is pressuring me to get a higher paying job, can be a red flag to the interviewers. So I encourage you, if you have long-standing, deep-seated personal or family issues, deal with them outside of the workplace with a qualified professional. And if the issues are not easily overcome and are going to be there in the long term, find a way to live with them and not let them affect you. Find a way to always bring your best self to the interview and let your skills, experience, and winning personality shine through, rather than letting your problems hang over you like a dark cloud that could break into thunder, lightning, and torrential rain at any time. I know, easier said than done, but ultimately we all have our personal demons that we battle constantly and we've got to find a way to rise above them. The first step is by believing that we can. Number 2, don't talk about money. Let's face it, for many of us, the real reason we get out there looking for a new job isn't something as lofty or aspirational as trying to find greater meaning in the work we do or seeking fulfillment in life. I mean, sure, for some people that is true, but what's also true, I suspect, is that for most people, wanting to find a new job typically has to do with wanting a higher salary or wanting to leave a toxic environment that your hateful boss and colleagues are a part of, or maybe even that you have to find a new job because at your current company, your work isn't being appreciated or valued and therefore you aren't getting the performance grade you deserve, and maybe you are even being put on a performance improvement plan as a result, or something along those lines. Basically, reasons that would run the risk of raising a red flag to your interviewers. But wait, why? Why would it not be okay to say, for example, that you want higher pay? Because, quite simply, if you say you want more money and that's why you want to join their company, then as truthful as your response is, Your interviewers aren't going to applaud your honesty. They're just going to think that money's all you care about, that you're a mercenary, that even if they offer you the job, you're going to leave their company as soon as you get a better offer, etc. And none of these perceptions are going to be helpful to your chances of a successful interview. And the reality is, even though your interviewers themselves might feel the same way, meaning if they themselves apply for a new job, it could be because they want more money, they, your interviewers, are still going to judge you poorly if you cite that as your reasons. Yeah, I know it's not fair, but that's how it is. It's the game. Number 3, don't talk badly about your boss and colleagues. And continuing from my previous point, don't talk badly about your boss or colleagues or anyone for that matter. Even if your boss or your colleagues are truly the worst people in the world, and we've all been there, you don't want to be mentioning it during the interview. It's just going to reflect badly on you because it's almost a cardinal sin to speak in negative terms about your boss and colleagues, even if what you're saying is 110% true. And if you choose to do that, what's likely to happen is that 1, you're going to end up thinking that you're the one with the problem, and 2, that if you join their company, that you're going to be talking badly about them down the road. All in all, it's simply unprofessional, and it doesn't make a strong case for yourself as a potential new hire. Number 4, don't talk about how you hate your job. It's okay to realize that your current job and the work you're doing simply isn't your cup of tea. It's even okay to hate it enough to want to leave for another different job. But what's not okay is letting the full force of your feelings, your hate, come through in the interview. It's just not going to add to the positive perception of you that you'll want your interviewers to have. They're just going to think of you as a negative person. And remember, positivity always trumps negativity, especially so in the corporate world. What you'll want to do, if you really must talk about your current job that you hate, is to make it less about how you feel about the job and more about how you want to define and chart your career path. In other words, be more diplomatic and more forward-looking. So don't say, "Oh, I hate my current job, so that's why I'm leaving." And instead, say something more cliche but safer, such as, "I realize that my current job is not the right fit for me in terms of my natural capabilities as well as my career aspirations. Hence, I am looking for a role that would allow me to reach my full potential and maximize the value I can create for my employer." Obviously, this is only going to work if the role you're applying for is different enough from your current role. If you're a social media marketing manager and you're applying to be a social media marketing manager in another company, then this reason just wouldn't make sense. Number 5, don't trash your company. By now, you should be recognizing a pattern. Speaking negatively about anything at all during an interview is just a recipe for disaster, and none more so than speaking badly about your company. For example, saying that your company culture is toxic, or that you think your company's business strategy is going to fail, or that your company's senior leadership have no clue what they are doing, which is all true at some point, we all know that. These could all be true, like I said, but it doesn't matter. These facts aren't going to matter here. What's going to matter is that you are going to be perceived as a negative person who will struggle to fit into any organization because of your negative outlook. Again, if you really must talk about your company, and on occasion you might have to because they might ask you directly, then the best thing to do is to once again be diplomatic or tactful. Instead of outrightly saying that the company culture is toxic, you may have to say something such as, "The working culture and organizational values were not aligned with my personal career aspirations and beliefs, and I believe I would not be able to achieve my full potential there." So those were my tips on the 5 things you shouldn't say when you're asked questions such as, "Why do you want this role?" or "Why do you want to leave your current company?" Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you found it useful. If you did, give me a like and do subscribe, as it helps this channel to grow and lets me know that what I'm doing here helps you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye for now.